Hey guys, welcome again in this video. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how to connect your Next.js frontend with your Node.js backend. Alright, so we have to open our current working repository in VS Code. I'm currently using VS Code for this build, and you can use any other coding or programming ID of your choice. So this is our backend code, and what we had in our previous video is that you're able to set up our Node.js server using Express. Alright, so we installed Express, we installed Pulse, we installed .env, we installed body parser, and we installed Mongoose. Then we set our environmental variable, the config folder. Also, we set our app constructor, and then we moved from there. So we make use of the body parser as JSON and the URL encoded, sent it as true. Then we allowed our origin. We made use of the course, and also we connected to the database using this Mongoose here. Alright, so also in the previous video we set up our first route using auth route. So you have the register route and the login route. So if you go into the register route, you can see here that what we did here is to set up, take your email, take your password, and take your full name, check if they were sent from the front end. If they are, we'll check if these already exist in the database. If you already exist, we return that this user already exists, so don't need to register the user again. If you don't, we hash your password and then we create a new user object in MongoDB, and then we save the user. Then we set up your token using the user ID and our password, and then set to expire in 1 hour, and then we return back the user ID, your token, and then a message that the user has been registered. And for the login route, we'll do something similar. Take your email, take your password, then we'll check if they were sent from the front end. If they are, we check if these already exist. These are exist, we proceed. If they don't exist, we return that this user doesn't exist. Right, so if these are exist, we check for your password. If your password is correct using bcrypt, then we compare the password you sent with the user's password. So if it's correct, we send you a token, and then return a JSON object, right? Send you a message user ID and token. If it's not correct, we return that is sending invalid credentials. So that is where we stopped in our last video. So this video we are going to connect it with the front end. Alright, so in our previous builds, so in the front end part under the app components and auth, we have our auth screen where we set up the form and everything. So all we're left to do is to send this data to the backend. So that's what we're going to do for this build today. Auth route, we need to first of all add it into this index page. Alright, so under the course, it must be under this course, under this place. Alright, so under this course, we have to add this line of code. Alright, and then we have to import auth from router slash auth.js. So this is very important for us to do. Save your code. So this now is telling the app server to make use of the auth. Alright, so this is what we're gonna use. So let's go to our front end now and connect it with the auth. So we'll go to the Next.js front end. This is how we have it. Alright, so we need to enter the component and then this. So let's write our function. This function might be long, so you just have to bear with me. So const handle submit. So it's a callback function, right? So we need to check for some things before we submit. So we have to set this loading to true. So to set its login to true, first of all, the way you do that, you have to check which is the user doing. Are you trying to log in or are you trying to register? Are you trying to log in or are you trying to register? So we have an if statement. I'll say is login. Alright, so if you are trying to log in, the function will be here. If you are trying to register, the function will be here. So let's do the register one first, then we'll do the login. So we'll check if form data dot password is not supposed to form data dot confirm will return. Alright, so your password and your confirm password must be the same. So we could return an alert. That says password does not match. So we could return this. Alright, we could return this. Then the next thing we need to do is, since it exists, all this now we have to create a new in our constant block. We have to create a new file inside, and this file is called endpoint.js. So I love to create this. I'll call it base URL. And then base URL is a string. The string that goes to the backend HTTP / localhost 5000 / API / v1. So where did I get this API / v1 from? I'll show you in a bit. Where did I get this API / v1 from? If you go to our index.js, you can see here I have API v1 auth. Alright, so I'm taking this first since this is a global something I'll be using API / v1, so that's why I have API / v1 here. So we have to import Axios. Alright, yeah, so import Axios from Axios. So after importing Axios from Axios, so we'll do Axios.post. Now why are we doing Axios.post? If you go to our auth endpoint, this is post. So that I doing Axios.post. Don't forget that. So Axios.post backtick and double braces, curly braces, and then we'll call our base URL here. Alright, slash. So the next thing we need to call is, if you go to our index, we have auth. So we just copy auth there and then paste it there. And then the next thing we're calling is register. So we're calling register endpoints. Then we add some parameters to it. So what does register endpoints? What are they looking? What is it looking for? They're looking for the email, password, and name. So make sure it is like this: email, password, and name. Then the email is form data dot email. Here is form data dot password, and here is form data dot name. Then we'll chain it up with dot then. So it returns a response. Alright. So this response now is from this place. So whatever is responding here. Alright. Response is equals to const token is equals to response dot data dot token. Alright. Const user ID is equals to response dot data dot user ID then then message go for store data dot message. Alright, so all this is being fetched from this. So remember, we're sending message, the ID and token. So that is why I'm using token, user ID and message. So now we have to store this data we are getting from the user somewhere, and the easiest place to store it is the local storage of the user's device. So we'll do local storage dot set item. So we have user ID here, and what we are setting here is the user ID. Alright, so set this one. Is what we're setting here. Then local storage dot set item. We have the token. And what we're setting here is the token. But me, I don't like to save token in local storage. I would say save it in session storage. So that is what we're going to do here. We're going to use session storage here, and then we have to create a state that saves the message. So we have our message or feedback. Let's call it feedback here. Alright, it's cement string. Then we'll set feedback here as message. Cool. So with this, we almost done. The last thing we need to do is push the user to the dashboard. So the last thing we need to do is push the user to the dashboard. So after dot push slash dashboard slash, oh, I used the wrong. So use this slash dashboard, then slash curly braces user ID. Alright, so this will take us to the dashboard. Then we catch the error. So there's an error coming from here. So the errors we mean is these errors, like these errors, this one. So there are any errors, we catch it here. So we log it first to see what kind of error is that. Alright, so we'll log the error. If we want to send the errors to the user for the user to see what the error is all about, like those ones. So we do set feedback to the error dot response, error dot data dot response dot message. Right, so that is the error. Let's see again. Right, I'm sending a message, so that is the error. So error dot response dot message. So this is the error. So we're done with the register function here. So let's do the login function. Let's do the login function, the login part. It's actually the same thing. So let's copy this and then let's paste it here. But the only thing login not have is this. And then we call login here. Alright. So the login is also sending the same data back, message, user ID and token. So that is exactly what we are going to use here. So where is it? So we are going to use message, user ID and token. So then we save and then we push it to the dashboard. So with that we are good. So to call this function here now, we save here and then we go to our form. So this is the function. So this is our form. So on submit, we call this. Alright, on submit, we call this. But before we do that, for us not to submit an empty file without anything inside here. You have to check if form data dot email, if nothing exists inside form data dot email, will return, or nothing exists inside form data dot password, then return an alert. So credentials are needed. So that is what will return. Credentials are needed. So you can change this to whatever you want. Alright. So this is what I'm going to call it. And then with this now, when you try it out, you see that it will work. So when we run the front end and the back end now, we send a request to this endpoint. We'll see that it will work. So that's what we're going to be doing next.